I'm gonna let an incel explain Project 2025 to y'all. We have a bunch of incels in the White House now, and this is how they think. So let me just make it very clear. This is the reason that Project 2025 is happening. Let's read it together. This was posted in the Natalism subreddit by an incel. And he says that birth rate can never be fixed. It is just female nature. The birth rate can never be fixed without rolling back women's rights. No, I'm not suggesting this, just playing devil's advocate. I could do an hour-long dissertation on this first sentence just to begin with, but I won't. Women have always married sideways and up in terms of social status. Also not true, but that's okay. When women can work and make their own money, they will want a man who makes the same or more. This is just nature. Money doesn't exist in nature, sir, but that's okay. A lot of men are simply not going to make the standard of today. True. You need to know that incels realize this. A lot of incels realize they're not going to make the cut to mate with a woman and to create for themselves a quote-unquote legacy. And they're really mad about it because they feel entitled to it. You know where there is a high birth rate? Poor women. Poor women have a lot of men who will make the cut. That's why poor people have more babies. They're not picky. They're not thinking about going to college and then finding a husband who makes as much as them. They don't care about all of that. They're fine being poor. Women in the past couldn't work, or the most she could aspire to is being a secretary. They needed a man to survive. Today they can put off marriage and kids and even settle when they're 30 plus or never settle. Really saying the quiet part out loud, right? Why would she settle at 21 and have 4 babies with some loser when she can get a career and find a winner at 30 who makes the same as her? All this talk about doing this and that to fix the birth rate is ridiculous. You will never convince a woman who has innate talent to not have a career and then find a husband who also has a career. So ladies, just so y'all know, this is the game plan. This is Project 2025. Right? They want to trap you with these loser men's babies. And they know, these men themselves know that they are losers. They know that they are not making the cut otherwise. They know that they're not making the cut unless women are in dire economic poverty conditions. That is the only time they're going to be able to trap and saddle a woman with 4 children, even though they're a loser, a poor, broke loser. And they're saying the quiet part out loud. They're saying that if women could go their own way, they would, right? All this red pill talk about it's men that go their own way. Women are always trying to trap us. What is this then? Men know damn well that they're the ones that need to trap women. And that's why we have Project 2025 coming down the pike. Because a lot of these capitalist, loser, incel men, the only reason that any women pay attention to them is because they have money. Well, in order to keep making money, guess what they need? They need there to be more people. They need women to be popping out 4 kids or more. So these rich incels have come up with a plan, and it basically boils down to this. The incel thinking, this type of incel thinking is the highest level of thinking that a lot of men are even capable of. They're not going to go above this. They're not going to be asking the real questions. They're just going to look at something and then think, how do I force it? How do I conquer it? How do I make it do what I want it to do? And they don't view us as people. They're viewing us as baby-making machines. Like, you got to put the machine in a different gear. You got to put it into the poverty gear, right? Otherwise, it's not going to want to pop out babies. Got to put the machine in a state of poverty. And then the machine won't be picky. This is exactly why they're rolling back our rights. Like I'm telling y'all, these men sat down and they said, we need the worker bees, we need the consumers, we need the warehouse employees, we need people's children so we can send them to war. Otherwise, this whole system falls apart without women, and without women being forced to be indiscriminate, or without women being forced into poverty conditions, with a lack of sex education, with a lack of knowledge of their own rights, lacking knowledge of their own power. That is the only way that women are going to continue doing what men want them to do. They're not going to know any better. And that's why they need their rights rolled back, because if women were given the same levels of freedom as men, a lot of women would simply opt out of dating men, marrying men, having kids with men. They would want to have the same kind of freedom as a man, to have and pursue a career, to make a lot of money in their lifetime, to settle down when they're 30 or older. That's what women would choose. As most men do not make a good mating partner. They don't make a good husband, father, partner, any of those things. So when women become educated and when they get a taste of that freedom that only men have historically had access to, women start to realize why men have always been so insistent on trapping them with marriage and children and poverty, and then making all of that seem like a gift that the man gave you. Oh, he gave me babies. Oh, he lets me stay home and take care of the kids. Oh, he provides for us. Ma'am, he has figured out that that is in fact the only way to trap a woman and have her doing his bidding, supporting his career, supporting all of his moves, raising his children, leaving him a legacy, because mind you, they're going to have his last name. So men have just figured out how to skin us alive, right? Now that we've caught on to the fact that that's wrong and we don't want to be skinned alive anymore, they're like, see, we need to get you back into a time when you couldn't escape being skinned alive. Couldn't escape being used as a baby making machine, when you had to, when you would believe any lie that somebody would tell you because you are young, naive, living in poverty, you're uneducated, and you'll believe anything that anybody tells you. That's why they like gullible, uneducated women, the same reason that Trump likes uneducated people, because they don't ask too many questions, they just do as they're told. This is why Project 2025 is really happening. Like, it's definitely sinister, it's just not complicated. It's just not complicated. It's because the only way that men know how to do things is by force. And they don't actually want to ask themselves the real questions or admit to themselves they're hindering their own progress, their own evolution. They're hindering the human race in general by oppressing half or more of it. And all they care about is figuring out how to get what they want by force. So ladies, please stay safe out there. Protect your womb. Godspeed.